Hi, I'm Mark Aaron, and welcome to In Focus by You Multicultural, where we focus on civic issues here in Winnipeg. In today's episode, we'll be covering the increased numbers of homeless people in Winnipeg. With me right now is Luke Thiessen from Siloam Mission. Luke, how are you doing today?
Oh, great. Thank you.
So, can you give us a brief description on what Siloam Mission is?
Yeah, Siloam Mission is Winnipeg's largest service provider for those experiencing homelessness. We offer meals, emergency shelter, healthcare, as well as progressive services that help people transition out of homelessness into independence. There's a lot that goes with it, but that's kind of the broad strokes.
Yeah. With the COVID-19 restrictions, what changes have you made to the company?
The biggest things we've had to change are restricting the number of people using services. So that's instead of serving 400 or 500 people at each meal, we can only serve about maximum 100, which is also the amount of our reduced capacity in our shelter. Social distancing has kind of made a cap on how many people can be in those frontline services in those areas. And then a lot of our other services have had to be scaled back to appointment only or virtual or managed in a way that keeps people safe and reduces capacity.
So, with the virus and the restrictions, do you think there has been an increased number of restrictions here in Winnipeg?
Yeah, it's certainly something we've been concerned about. It's hard to tell since we've reduced our capacity. Our numbers haven't gone up because we can have fewer people in the building, but we expect that there were likely people, and we're going to see this as we come out of the pandemic, who were precariously housed on the brink of homelessness, who probably have been forced into homelessness during this pandemic in some way. So we do expect to see that the next time we can get a handle on what those numbers are.
What would happen if the restrictions never get lifted for, let's say, another while?
It's certainly a challenge for everyone in our community. Some of the For those who are experiencing homelessness who are using our services, we'll just continue doing our best. The people for whom it's the hardest are those who we've been able to move into housing. They've moved out of our shelter and into their own place. For them, it's really challenging because of the isolation and not being able to get some of the support we'd normally give them. So that's one of the biggest worries is the longer this goes on, the harder it is for those folks who finally manage to get out and make it on their own, that they might find themselves coming back to us.
Yeah. So Silent Mission is a very community type of work environment. So how did your company help support the homelessness during this pandemic?
Yeah, absolutely. At the beginning of the pandemic, we had an outpouring of support. So many people were so generous with financial donations and donations of PPE and things like that. And as the pandemic has gone on, I think people's ability to give has been less. More and more people have been affected by it financially. But our community has really been great and allowed us to keep doing all of our work. We haven't been at a shortfall yet, and that's been really amazing.
So how can Winnipeg help out Silent Mission during this awful time?
Yeah, right now, I mean, we're watching the restrictions and watching to see what happens. We've gone through a whole season of not being able to hold fundraising events, which we normally would. So, donations, financial donations are huge at this time. But as well as just watching for, we have urgent needs from time to time that if people can donate, whether that's clothing items or whether that's um, you know uh, PPE or things that people can make from home. There's needs on a week to week basis that we ask, if people check out our website and see what the urgent need is, that we know people will be generous and help us out with those things.
Thank you, Luke, for so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's it for today's episode of In Focus with You Multicultural, where we put the focus on civic issues here in Winnipeg. I'm Mark Aaron. Hope you stay safe and have a nice day.